Hey everybody. So, I want to talk about the Metropolitan division a little bit here because this division has been flat out weird to start this season. Nothing in this division really is what we would have expected, and it, all the teams are just right on top of each other. It's really odd to look at. So, let's take a look here. This is where the Metro sits right now, Tuesday morning. After last night's games, you have Columbus in first place with a 10-6-2 record and 22 points. The New York Rangers are in second place. Yeah, who would have guessed that? They were supposed to finish last. They're 9-7-2 with 20 points. Philadelphia Flyers are in third place with a 9-7-1 record and 19 points. Carolina is in fourth with an 8-7-3 record, 19 points. The New York Islanders are in fifth place with an 8-6-2 record and 18 points. Pittsburgh and Washington are in 6th and 7th. Who would have guessed that coming into the season? Pittsburgh 7-5-3 with 17 points. Washington 7-6-3 with 17 points. Washington's played one more game. And the last place team is the New Jersey Devils with a 6-8-1 record and only 13 points. New Jersey's played only 15 games, whereas the rest of the division, for the most part, has played 17 or 18, so they've got games in hand on everybody. This is just weird. This is flat out weird. Pittsburgh, now, the starred teams are teams that made the playoffs last season. Columbus, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Washington, New Jersey. 5 teams from the Metro made the playoffs last season. Your bottom 3 teams in the Metropolitan Division right now were all playoff teams last year. And Pittsburgh and Washington are year in and year out the 2 best teams in the division. What is going on? This has just been such an odd year to this point in this division. First of all, every single team except for the New Jersey Devils are above 500. Most of these teams are right around 500. Columbus is 4 games over. Every other team is either within 1 or 2 games of being 500. They're all right on top of each other. The difference between 7th place Washington and 2nd place New York Rangers, 3 points. 3 points. The Rangers, look at all these teams have between 17 and 20 points. They are right on top of each other. It's so hard to look at this and know who's a good team and who's not because everyone is right on top of each other. It's been such an odd start to the year. I mean, I had Columbus making the playoffs this year, not winning the division. I had them as a wild card team. They currently have the most wins in the division. The New York Rangers were supposed to finish last. The Rangers and Islanders were supposed to stink. They're ahead of Pittsburgh, ahead of Washington, ahead of New Jersey. The Rangers are in 2nd place. That should not be happening. It's just so weird this year. So, how the rest of the season plays out, I don't know. I think over the course of the season, things are going to level out the way that they should. Over time, you're going to have your good teams start to rise up, and your bad teams start to fall back in the standings to the bottom. But right now, this is just so confusing and odd to look at. I don't know what to think. Columbus, leading the division. Okay, Columbus is a pretty good team. I could see that. The New York Rangers should not be in 2nd. Philadelphia in 3rd actually makes a lot of sense. That's actually a pretty accurate spot for them. But they started the season off horribly. Philly was atrocious to start the year. I thought they were going to fire Hackstall. I thought that team was going under, like the way that the Kings have. No, they have a good road trip, and now they're right back up into 3rd place. Carolina, they're about a 500 team, which is where I saw them at the beginning of the season. The Islanders, they're 2 games above 500. I did not see that coming. And they've got 2 games in hand on Carolina. So, once they play those, they'll probably be moved up ahead of the Hurricanes. The Islanders and Rangers were supposed to be the 2 worst teams in this division. Neither are even close to that right now. Both are 2 games above 500. Pittsburgh and Washington, who are supposed to be the best 2 teams in the division and fighting it out for the top seed, they're in 6th and 7th right now, and the New Jersey Devils have gotten off to a terrible start, mostly because they cannot win on the road. Their road record is god-awful this year. So they're 6-8-1, but I do expect them to get better as the season goes along, and they've played less games than everyone else. So if they win those games in hand, New Jersey, give them 2 more games with everyone else playing none, because they have 2 games in hand on a lot of teams, 3 games in hand on some teams. Make them 8-8-1. What do they have points-wise? That's another 4 points. They have 17 points. They're right there with Pittsburgh and Washington, and only 3 points out of second place, where the Rangers are. This is just flat out weird. This is a division that is going to be close all year long. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Interdivisional games between these teams are going to be huge. Pittsburgh and New Jersey play tonight. Tell me that is not a huge game for this early in the season. If Pittsburgh wins that game, they could potentially move all the way up into 3rd place with Philadelphia and Carolina at 19 points. If Pittsburgh loses that game, they could end up in the bottom of the division. They could be... Well, actually, no, because New Jersey would only get to 15 points. But again, with those games in hand, they'd essentially move to the bottom of the division because New Jersey would still have 2 games in hand on them. It's just weird. It's so weird how this division looks right now. This isn't how it was supposed to be. But that's the greatness of the NHL. The NHL is completely unpredictable, and good teams end up not being that great. Bad teams end up being a lot better than you expected. And it's just so much fun to watch. But I am so confused looking at these standings. How is this happening? Again, over the course of the season, I think things will filter out a little bit. I think the Rangers are obviously not going to finish 2nd in the division. The Islanders may end up right about where they are. They may drop a little bit. The Islanders could end up being a playoff team if they get good goaltending all year long. I certainly expect Pittsburgh and Washington to improve their position from where they are now. I mean, it's not possible for both of them to miss the playoffs, is it? I mean, that can't happen. That won't happen, will it? I don't think so. But again, it's the NHL. Who the hell knows? New Jersey, I think, is better than a 6-8-1 team. I don't know if they're as good as they were last year, but I think they're better than a 6-8-1 team. Carolina could surprise and end up being a playoff team. I just don't know what to think here. This is just, it's so weird. So, keep an eye on this division and watch some of these games, especially interdivisional games, because they're so important. This whole division is just right on top of each other. Right on top of each other. It's really hard to tell which teams are going to end up being at the top and which teams are going to end up at the bottom, because they're all pretty similar. So, that's what I've got on the Metro. It's just wild right now, and we'll have to wait and see how things shake out over the course of the entire season. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. Check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support Off the Wall Hockey, that link to our Patreon page is also in the description. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.